From the cup of Helga Hufflepuff, Voldemort killed her descendant, Hepzibah Smith, and yet again framed somebody else for the murder, her house elf, Hoki. Hello friends, welcome to my channel where we talk about facts, theories, and opinions related to the wizarding world of Harry Potter. If you're a Potterhead like me, I would consider subscribing, but if not, that's cool too. My name is Fatma, and today I will be talking about all of Lord Voldemort's Horcruxes from creation to destruction. Let's get into it. Now, as you know, Lord Voldemort, on his quest to immortality, planned to split his soul into 7 pieces and store 6 of these pieces into Horcruxes. Today, we take a look at all 7 of his Horcruxes, their origins, how they were created, stored and protected, and ultimately destroyed. But first, let's start with some background. From a very young age, even before he knew what he could do was called magic, Lord Voldemort, or Tom Riddle the boy, was set on one thing, and that was not dying. We see this as Dumbledore recalls the first time that he met Tom Riddle in the orphanage that he grew up in. Dumbledore, who was Transfiguration professor at the time, had come to give Tom his letter and explain to him about Hogwarts and what it was. During this meeting, Tom asked Dumbledore if he knew if Tom's father was a wizard or not, because in Tom's opinion, his mother could not have been a witch because she died. So at age 11, he was under the misconception that people with his abilities did not die. Only he did not grow out of this misconception, he made it his reality.
But only I can live forever.
And death became the one thing Tom was most keen on avoiding. So the path to immortality that Tom Riddle chose to take were Horcruxes. A Horcrux is essentially an almost indestructible item which holds a piece of someone's soul. So if they are to be killed by someone, they would not die because a piece of their soul is still in this world within the Horcrux, and they would essentially be able to come back to life. To create a Horcrux, one must kill to rip their soul into pieces, and then they store one part of their soul into an object of their choosing. Whatever the object may be, the witch or wizard creating the Horcrux would need to first cast protective enchantments onto the object, making it virtually indestructible. The only ways we know to destroy an Horcrux are basilisk venom and fiend fire. A workaround to one of these ways of destroying the Horcruxes is the Sword of Gryffindor, because Harry slayed a basilisk with the Sword of Gryffindor, and because the sword is goblin-made metal, it took on the properties of basilisk venom when Harry slayed the basilisk. But it is not as simple as finding the Horcruxes and destroying them. Voldemort went a step further in protecting his Horcruxes, wherein he hid all of them in different places and under further protection, so that just getting to the Horcrux in and of itself would become incredibly dangerous and life-threatening. So let's break it down. The 7 Horcruxes in order of creation are Tom Riddle's diary, the ring with the resurrection stone in it, Salazar Slytherin's necklace, Helga Hufflepuff's cup, the lost diadem of Ravenclaw, Harry Potter, the unintentional Horcrux, and Nagini. In this video, I will go over how or where Voldemort found each Horcrux item, who he murdered to rip apart his soul, what additional protections were put in place for each item, who destroyed the Horcrux, and ultimately what was the method of destruction. Starting with Tom Riddle's diary. All of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is based on this first most deadly Horcrux. The diary was the only item which truly belonged to Tom, and he did not steal it from others. Being the last living heir of Salazar Slytherin, in his 5th year, Tom Riddle opened the Chamber of Secrets for the first time to rid the school of Muggle-born students as his ancestor Salazar Slytherin had once wanted. The diary Horcrux was thus created with Tom Riddle's first murder that we know of. Myrtle Warren, aka Moaning Myrtle, was killed by the basilisk. Tom stopped at Myrtle because the school was about to be closed due to her murder. At this point, Tom would have had to return to the orphanage where he grew up. So to avoid that, he framed Hagrid, who was in possession of an acromantula, and Hagrid ended up getting expelled, but the school remained open. As we know, Voldemort went on to create more Horcruxes. So at the height of his power, he gave the diary Horcrux to Lucius Malfoy for safekeeping. He did mention to Lucius that when the time came, the diary had the power to reopen the Chamber of Secrets and rid Hogwarts of Muggle-born students. However, Lucius was supposed to wait until Voldemort gave him the go-ahead. Of course, Lucius did not do so and dropped the diary in Ginny Weasley's box in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Ginny poured her heart out into the diary and as a result started getting possessed by Lord Voldemort without knowing. And as a result, gave the diary, aka Lord Voldemort, enough power to be able to possess her without her knowing. She thereby inadvertently became the vessel through which Tom Riddle was able to reopen the Chamber of Secrets and petrify a handful of students along with a cat and a ghost. When Ginny Weasley had poured out enough of herself into the diary, Voldemort was going to be able to come back to life by taking away Ginny. At this point, she was taken to the Chamber of Secrets where Harry and Ron went to find her. Harry faced and killed the basilisk in the chamber, and before Tom Riddle could come to his full form, destroyed the diary Horcrux with a basilisk fang, one of the only means of destroying Horcrux. This brings us to Voldemort's second Horcrux, which is the family ring he stole from his uncle. In his 6th year at Hogwarts, Tom went looking for his mother's family once he was sure his father's family was not of visiting origin. He discovered the home of his grandfather, who had passed away, and there his Uncle Morphin lived alone. When his Uncle Morphin first saw him, he thought he was Tom Riddle Sr., but Tom spoke to him in Parseltongue to show him he's a wizard, and found out from his uncle where his father lived. He stole the ring from his Uncle Morphin and returned to Hogwarts, where he had a conversation with one of his teachers, Professor Slughorn, to ask him about the possibility of creating multiple Horcruxes, because no witch or wizard had done this at this point. Once Slughorn hesitantly confirmed that it would likely be possible, Tom then returned to his uncle and took his wand. And it was with his uncle's wand that he killed his father to create his second Horcrux. And he also killed his grandparent. And just like that, he was yet again able to frame someone else for his murders because he had used his uncle's wand, and his uncle was the one who was taken away by the Ministry for killing the Tom Riddle family. When the Ministry questioned Morphin, he actually confessed, likely under the Imperious Curse or a memory charm, but he admitted that he finished the job and killed off Tom Riddle Sr. and his parents. The ring thus became the second Horcrux. Though unknown to Voldemort or his gaunt family relatives, the ring had additional powers. Stone in the ring was actually the Resurrection Stone from the Tale of the Three Brothers. Voldemort hid the ring in the same place where he found it, the Gaunt family home, with protective enchantments all around and one on the ring itself, which would immediately kill the wearer. The ring Horcrux was found by Albus Dumbledore, who, upon seeing it, immediately knew that it held the Resurrection Stone. Dumbledore put the ring on immediately because he was desperate to see his dead family members. Of course, he was then attacked by the curse in the ring, which would have killed a lesser wizard on the spot. But Dumbledore managed to take the ring off, return to Hogwarts, and destroy the ring with the Sword of Gryffindor, which was there in his office, before he summoned Severus Snape to help him contain the curse in his one hand. But that's a whole other video, so let's get back to Horcruxes. So even before he left Hogwarts, he had actually already created 2 of his Horcruxes. Once he graduated from Hogwarts, his teachers seemed to think that he was going to do great things, maybe go on and work for the ministry, and go up the ranks. However, Tom actually ended up accepting a job as a salesperson at Borgin and Burke's, a shop in Nocturne Alley, which sold dangerous dark items. His interest in this shop was gather more powerful and ancient magical items to turn into Horcruxes. I mean, this is Lord Voldemort. Not just anything was going to hold his soul for him, right? Through this job at Borgin and Burke, he met Hepzibah Smith, a direct descendant of Helga Hufflepuff, and she had in her possession a cup that belonged to Helga Hufflepuff, known to have some very special powers. And she also had the necklace of Salazar Slytherin, which Tom's own mother had sold at Borgin and Burke for a disgustingly low price when she had been pregnant with him. Now, Slytherin's necklace could have a whole video just dedicated to that one Horcrux, just from all the different hands that it crossed and all the trouble that it caused. But I will try to keep it short for this video. Voldemort killed a random muggle to create the necklace Horcrux, and he hid it in a cave that he came across on a field trip in his orphanage days. The cave was inaccessible without magic, and after Voldemort was done putting protections on it, it required a blood sacrifice to enter, and inside, the necklace was guarded by a lake of Inferius and a deadly potion which would make the drinker hallucinate, and not in a good way. At the end of Harry's 6th year, Harry and Dumbledore went to get the necklace from this cave. However, they got a necklace, but it turned out to be a fake placed there by Regulus Black, Sirius's brother. Regulus actually died getting the necklace, but gave it to his house elf, Creature, and asked him to destroy it. Creature, being a house elf, had no idea this was a Horcrux or how to destroy it, and was unable to do so. Creature ultimately lost the necklace when Mundungus Fletcher, after Sirius's death, raided the house for precious items he could sell and make some money. Young ended up having to sell the necklace to Dolores Umbridge to get out of being caught for selling items in Diagon Alley. And it is from Umbridge that Harry, Ron, and Hermione finally got the necklace after planning for months how to get in and out of the Ministry of Magic when it was already infiltrated by dark wizards. Once the trio had the necklace, they had no means of destroying it. They were tortured by having to wear the necklace so it doesn't get stolen again. Ultimately, the necklace was destroyed by Ron Weasley, who was the worst affected by wearing the necklace. He used the Sword of Gryffindor to do so after he saved Harry's life from being choked to death in an icy pond by the necklace, and grabbed the Sword of Gryffindor that was placed at the bottom of the pond. He had to face the necklace, showing him his greatest fears and insecurities before he squashed it well and good. To create his 4th Horcrux from the cup of Helga Hufflepuff, Voldemort killed her descendant, Hepzibah Smith, and yet again framed somebody else for the murder, her house elf, Hokey. Voldemort decided to keep this Horcrux within Gringotts, and that was the means by which it would be protected. Since his family no longer had a vault in the visiting bank, Gringotts, he had Bellatrix Lestrange keep the cup in her family vault, which was one of the oldest vaults in Gringotts. Harry, Ron, and Hermione planned a heist to get into the vault and steal the cup. With the exception of a few hiccups, the heist was mostly successful, and they managed to steal the cup, but lost the Sword of Gryffindor. The cup Horcrux was destroyed by Hermione in the Chamber of Secrets, and so in a stroke of brilliance, Ron took Hermione to the Chamber of Secrets by mimicking how Harry had spoken in Parseltongue when he had asked the necklace to open up when they had to destroy that Horcrux. In the Chamber of Secrets, Hermione is the one who destroyed the cup Horcrux, with one of the fangs of the dead basilisk that lay there. This brings us to Horcrux number 5, which is Ravenclaw's diadem, and this is an object the Wizarding world thought was lost forever. Only Tom Riddle, who could be very charming when he wanted to, had gotten the truth about the diadem from the ghost of Helena Ravenclaw, Rowena Ravenclaw's daughter. When alive, Helena had been jealous of her mother's wisdom, and so she stole the diadem from her mother and ran away to a forest in Albania, where she was tracked down by the living Bloody Baron, the present day ghost of Slytherin house. Helena had hidden the diadem in a tree before the Baron found her, and killed her in a murder-suicide when she told him that she did not return his romantic feelings. Tom Riddle, while at school, was able to convince her to tell him exactly where she hid the diadem and promised her he would destroy it. Several years later, he went and got the diadem from the place where it was hidden, and he turned it into a Horcrux by killing a random Albanian peasant, which I guess is destroying it. Tom wanted to hide the diadem in his old school, Hogwarts, because, like Harry, the school was extremely special to him, more so than other visiting children, because being an orphan, Hogwarts became more of a home for him than the orphanage where he grew up. He came to Hogwarts under the guise of asking Dumbledore for a position as the Defense Against Dark Arts professor, which he was promptly refused. But on his way to or from Dumbledore's office, he was able to access and hide the diadem in the Room of Requirement, which was conveniently on the same floor as the headmaster's office. For some reason, Voldemort seemed to think he was the only one who knew about the existence of the Room of Requirement and had used it to hide away his precious Horcrux. I mean, did the piles and piles of discarded objects in the room not give away that other people were able to access it? I don't know. But not only did Harry know of the existence of the Room of Requirement, he had actually been in the exact version of the room where Tom had gone to hide away the diadem. And in his 6th year, he had picked up the diadem and used it to mark the place where he hid the Half-Blood Prince's copy of Advanced Potion Making in the room. During the Battle of Hogwarts, Harry, Ron, and Hermione go into the Room of Requirement to get the diadem, but they're interrupted by Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle for one final face-off. Ironically, it was Vincent Crabbe who destroyed this Horcrux as he stupidly cast the curse for Fiendfire and was unable to control it, burning down hundreds of years of items along with the Horcrux, and grotesquely ended up dying in the same fire himself. This brings us to the 6th unintentional Horcrux. The unintentional Horcrux, Harry, was created the night Voldemort came to kill him as a baby. At this point, his soul, already mutilated into 6 pieces, was extremely volatile, and so when he killed Lily with the intention to turn and kill her baby, his soul ripped into further 2 pieces, and as his curse on Harry rebounded on himself, one of the fragments of his soul latched itself onto Harry, while the other fled. This is the Horcrux Voldemort did not intend to create and is absolutely unaware of its existence. Then, in Harry's 4th year, Voldemort took Harry's blood to come back to full power. In doing so, he took Lily's protection, which coursed through Harry's veins, making him untouchable by Voldemort until this point. The caveat he didn't see coming was that when Harry entered into the woods to allow Voldemort to kill him towards the end of the Battle of Hogwarts, Voldemort ended up destroying the part of himself inside Harry with the killing curse. But with Lily's protection still there in Voldemort's blood, Harry was able to remain alive. The 7th Horcrux, which was meant to be the 6th one, is Nagini. Now, this is the only Horcrux that Voldemort intentionally made, which was a living creature. He met Nagini in the forests of Albania, where he went into hiding after losing his body. These are the same woods where he went to retrieve the diadem of Ravenclaw several years prior. Here, he befriended Nagini as he was able to speak Parseltongue and learned that she was an immortal maledictus. Nagini, who had been stuck as a snake for years and years, was grateful for the human connection and agreed to be turned into a Horcrux. Voldemort did not put any additional protective enchantments on Nagini, given that she was a deadly snake. However, once it became clear that Harry was hunting Horcruxes, Voldemort put her into a protective bubble with him during the Battle of Hogwarts. The trio, therefore, were not able to get to the snake without first facing Voldemort. Towards the end of the battle, as Harry was on his way to let Voldemort kill him, told Neville Longbottom that the snake needed to be killed so that after Harry died, there would still be 3 people who knew that the snake needed to be killed. When Voldemort thought that Harry was dead, he released Nagini from her protective bubble as he re-entered Hogwarts to claim his victory. At this point, Neville was to be made an example out of as he spoke up in front of the entire Hogwarts crowd against Voldemort. Voldemort placed the sorting hat on Neville's head and set it on fire, claiming that there would be no more sorting at Hogwarts and everyone would be sorted in his ancestor's house, Slytherin.
Yes, well done, Slytherin. Well done, Slytherin, however.
In true Gryffindor fashion, however, Neville broke free of the body-binding curse that Voldemort put on him and retrieved the Sword of Gryffindor from the burning sorting hat and slayed Nagini on the spot.
Neville Longbottom.
The one thing that stands out to me when I think of all of these Horcruxes is how ridiculous it was for Voldemort to choose such magically powerful items, which he could have used to get even more powerful had he wanted. Such a waste. And also the sheer irony that he hated the idea of death so much, he did everything in his power to live forever, but ended up dying at the age of 71, while average witches and wizards are able to live at least a few decades more than that, if not more. Friends, thank you so much for watching this video until the very end. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time. Bye for now.